Welcome back to another edition of Force Friday, where we talk about Star Wars theories, characters, concepts, comparisons, analyzations, collectibles, and more. And today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about greatest hits and misses of 2020 in regards to pieces I bought from my collection. And this is going to kind of wrap up our lists for the week, but this one's going to be a little bit different because it's not necessarily going to be just pieces released this year. It's going to also include pieces I've just bought this year, pieces I've made this year, etc., etc. So it'll be a bit of a wider scope, just something retrospective that's kind of in line with what we've been doing this week, and perhaps even fun. Here's hoping. And we'll start small and get big. So for the 3 3/4 line, I really do think that the Mandalorian and Cara Dune are both probably the better options and offerings of what we received this year. I have been amazed at how good the vintage collection has gotten. I am a little disappointed at some of the choices that the vintage collection has made and how narrow their scope seems to be, but that doesn't change the fact that they're still producing high quality figures, and these two are no exception. For just pure Black Series figure of the year, I'm going to give it to Plo Koon. Now, I also want to go out on the record and say I'm trying to give a little bit of variety as opposed to the other list this week, just so we can see some different figures and stuff, but this figure really is phenomenal. The reuse is kind of logical, makes sense, and also very much works for the character, and then the new stuff like the hands and the face sculpt and paint on the face all work in concert to kind of present a really dynamic looking figure. Now, subsequently, and I'm not going to do this for all categories, but one of my biggest kind of disappointments would be the new face sculpts on a lot of the Rebels figures and face paint. They while they do look better, I'm not sure if they are worth the cost of entry and how much they look better. Like, you know, it's basically had to buy them all again, and yet at the same time, I don't feel like they're all that much better than the originals, which is a testament to the originals, but also, you know, a bit of a disappointment for the newer offerings. Import wise, I just gotta give it to that Han Solo again. It's just so bloody good. It works so well. It is still really and truly an amazing piece, like breathtaking, and sitting next to some of these Black Series and even the Mayfex Rey, it's just, I don't know, mind-blowing piece. Now, I've given the SH Figuarts Emperor a really rough time this year, but it does look very good on the shelf. You know, I'm a little irritated at the business practice, but it doesn't change the fact that it looks fantastic. And I also did my first custom of the year, which is something new for me, which is this Talon. It's not the greatest thing up close, but from a distance it blends right in. You can't really tell and ends up looking pretty awesome. I did a number of dioramas this year, and this is the one that I'm most disappointed with. This is supposed to be an Imperial entry on Kashyyyk to kind of represent the Last Jedi Order or Fallen Jedi Order, whatever the game was. And, you know, I tried, and there's some stuff I really like about it, and there's some stuff that works, and it's not ultimately distracting or anything. I don't hate it, but in terms of what I have done this year, it's probably one of the more disappointing ones. The background doesn't work quite as well as I would like, and the Imperial Outpost, while kind of accurate, it doesn't exactly capture the Imperial vibe. It ends up looking more, I don't know, almost 40K-ish and less Star Wars-y, but I still do like a number of things about it. I like the kind of, you know, puddles and stuff there and all that, and I like the general layout of it. It just doesn't quite do the trick for me. I will go through all the dioramas I did for Star Wars this year. This is going to be my Knights of Ren diorama if they ever make any more. But I was really proud of this one, how it turned out. The background to me looks really good. The rock work looks really solid. A little bit of a different approach, but ends up working out quite nicely. And it's a really bright diorama on an otherwise kind of dark shelf layout, so it ends up popping a great bit. I ended up doing this Sith Temple, which we've already kind of looked at, so I won't bore you with it. But, you know, just to house Sith figures, you know, kind of across the generations of Star Wars and give a place for them, and I think it works perfectly. This was actually my wife's idea to do that top beam across, and I think it was the right choice. It gives it a little bit more depth and dimension. I did this Naboo one, this Theed Palace one, and it looks good. I like a number of things about it, especially like the potted plants and stuff. I think work really well. But I have one complaint with it, and that's this blue. Now you can't really see on screen, but there is variations in cloud stuff. But it ends up looking like a blue wall instead of a blue sky. So I wish I would have put in like a little hill or mountain or kind of green mountain in the background, so you really would have known that you're like looking out this at the view here. But I did this one kind of early on in the year. This is probably my favorite one I did this year, which is the Ewok village on Endor. A lot of skull work, a lot of paint work, and a lot of thought and layout. And it works really well, like little torches lit back there with light sourcing stuff added to it. And it's quite nice. And it really works, surprisingly well. And because this shelf is a little higher, you end up like kind of looking up at it like it's in the trees, which is nice as well. I did this one, which is I always forget the name of this planet. It's the one in episode 9 where they celebrate at the end. I just needed a shelf for the episode 9 characters. Those that know that that's my least favorite Star Wars film, and I have it down here at the bottom for that reason. But once again, I think I did a really good job with the rock work, and also the background I think is one of my best kind of painted backgrounds. Definitely channeling a little Bob Ross in there perhaps, but it works. This one is really effective, even the little tree stump with Babu Frick on it. It's really effective in like a nice layout. Unfortunately, it's just not my favorite film. I'm not sure how much will be made for it. I also, since I use the Hasbro Chewbacca for the Solo, I was able to take the SH Figuarts Solo Chewbacca, take his strap off, and use him for this. And then I was able to use that 3PO with the strap, so that kind of was a nice bonus as well. This is Echo Base kind of control room. Not my best, but I think it's effective. It's actually my daughter's favorite, my baby. But, does the job. A lot of little interesting tricks and stuff used here, like making these screens and stuff, and paint pens were used, and a lot of little odds and ends that we hadn't used before. So, kind of an exercise in experimentation, but perhaps, not my best. These little grates here I picked up from Crashbox. They were just like laying around. He said I could have them, so I used those. They worked out nicely. This is the Jedi Temple entryway, which is quite nice, and it turned out nicer than I thought it was going to be honest. And the marble stuff on the steps ends up looking pretty good. The little trees there kind of bring some color into it. The statues are McFarlane toys, and then one Marvel Legends that I just glued together in the pose I wanted, and spray painted gold and sat on top of these, and it ends up looking like these ancient, Jedi statues. It ended up working, one of those like lucky accidents. This is the Battle of Christophsis. I needed a Clone Wars shelf, especially for this new Ahsoka, and it fit that Obi-Wan and put Ahsoka's clones in it and stuff. So kind of an iconic location from the show. It looks a little cartoony, but I guess it came from a cartoon, so what are you going to do? My buddy Andy, who helps me with Force Friday, helped me kind of put this together, and in terms of picking out the location and such. So it ended up working out, and it looks cool, and the green and purples kind of pop once again on the shelf, but like I said, a little cartoony. And I added 2 shelves this year, these kind of mercenary or non-affiliated shelves, and this is my Mandalorian shelf. Tyler the Collector made this piece for me, so I was able to incorporate that into the diorama, which was nice. But this will hopefully house all my Mandalorian figures, because I don't plan on going too much further beyond this in Mandalorian scope, so hopefully that will do just nicely. And then over here is the one I just finished, my latest one, which is the throne room from Mandalore. I have the feeling that we're going to be getting a lot more Mandalorian styled figures from all different eras, so this will be used to house them. And if I ever get a Maul, I'm going to sit him on the throne, like a Clone Wars Maul. But yeah, it's simple but effective, like the windows and stuff. There's a lot of carving work, a lot of cutting work, but it really lets the orange and yellows pop through and give it some life. Kind of smaller scale statues. I got a few this year, but I really like this Obi-Wan and this Rey. This is a Kotobukiya Artifacts Rey and a Gentle Giant kind of Clone Wars style Obi-Wan. And it's not the greatest face sculpt on him. It's actually pretty well done on her. But like the underlit lighting and stuff with them up in this little cubby, it just looks really good. I'm going to fill out this whole section. I got a Leia over here. I got to paint that piece of styrofoam that raises her up. And then Jaina and Han and Chewie, and then Ahsoka is going to go over there. This Han is a little disappointing. It's just not a very accurate face sculpt, but whatever. Still feels good. It always feels good next to it. I also dipped my beak in the quarter scale world this year and got these 3, and that'll probably do it. But that Leia really works for me, the Leia and the Chewie. The Han, unfortunately, my favorite character, but doesn't quite work as well. But still pretty solid. I was also able to kind of pick up this Vader, which is kind of not Grail level, but one of the things I've been looking most forward to kind of getting. And I was able to eventually. It was a little broken, but we were able to repair it. For the larger scale figures, I know I've talked a lot about the Hot Toys Leia and Krennic, but this Wicket and Leia are also pretty fantastic. And I can't quite tell you how pleased I was with this Wicket, but like it was almost like a childlike moment when I got him out of the box, just how it made me feel. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. As far as books go, I get a number of books every year for Star Wars stuff, but this Art of Sideshow book, it's really fantastic. Like they go through all their figures, their premium format, their mythos stuff, like through the years. They have little insights and stuff about all of them. It's a high recommend from me. It's a beautiful collection of archived kind of information regarding what Sideshow has done in regards to the franchise. If I had to give a runner-up or an honorable mention, it would be this, The Art of Star Wars, The Mandalorian. Not to be confused with this, which is the art and imagery of The Mandalorian. This is trash. Do not get that under any means, but do get this. This is pretty great. Has all the concept art that you see at the end of the shows, plus extra information and character designs and set designs and all sorts of stuff that's, it's on par with their other kind of art books, whereas I picked up this one and it was a huge disappointment. And then lastly would be the media, and the content that I most enjoyed this year from Star Wars was undoubtedly the final season of Clone Wars and how they wrapped it up, how they handled Ahsoka, how they handled Anakin, how they handled the clones. Like I couldn't ask for anything more. It is the most satisfying experience I've had with Star Wars in quite some time, and very rarely does something scratch the itch so fully for me, but that is an example of one time where it did. So something a little light. It's been a busy week and a crazy year, but I wanted to end on some of the things that I've acquired in regard to the franchise this year that I have enjoyed the most, and on a positive. And I'll have plenty more things I acquire, I'm sure, in the future. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you guys are staying sane. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.